Hello everyone, Ashley here. So let's get started. We're going to do an hour of a goddess flow. So we're going to get into the hips. We're going to stretch out the hips, maybe be a little sore tomorrow. It's going to feel so good. I am so excited about today. So excited about the sequence that I've created for you all. So I want to first introduce you. And if you follow me on Instagram, I went over a tutorial yesterday. But for those of you that didn't catch the tutorial and are just tuning in on YouTube, I wanted to give you another tutorial of how to do this. So what we're going to do is called Ujjayi breath, or breath of victory. Also breath is also called pranayama in Sanskrit. So Ujjayi pranayama, breath of victory. So what we're going to do is we're going to lightly constrict the back of our throat and use about as much effort as if we were fogging up a mirror. So it's going to sound kind of like the ocean. So when you breathe in, you can imagine maybe the tide coming in, and as you breathe out, maybe imagine the tide pulling away from the shore. So gently constrict the back of your throat. You can also think of this as trying to make like a Darth Vader noise, right? So you may be the only person to hear this, but you're going to breathe in. Keep the mouth closed. You're using your nose only. So as you work with this breath, you'll notice that it creates a little bit of heat in your throat, a little bit of heat in your chest. It's very hard to concentrate on anything else but your breath, because the sound of your breath you can hear in your ears so loudly, and it also takes effort to control those muscles in the back of the throat. So this is a really great breath if you're in a challenging pose and you need a little more oomph. I like to come back to the Ujjayi breath. Or if I'm meditating, it's very relaxing to listen to the sound of my breath come in and out. And the same for meditation. It's very hard to concentrate on anything else but the sound of your breath, because it takes effort to constrict those muscles in the back of the throat. So anytime during this practice today, feel free to come back to your Ujjayi breath and play around with that a little bit. So we're going to get started here in a nice comfy seat. So let's face the front of our mats. And I'm going to stay just like this so that you can see me a little better, but go ahead and face the front of your mat. So we're just going to start with a gentle twist. Also, if you have blocks today that you would like to grab, those can be very handy. I have some here. Actually, I will put those out because I like to start with blocks at the very least. They're nice as you start to stretch the muscles. Maybe you can reach towards the ground, but the first couple, even forward folds or halfway lifts, it's nice to have something underneath of your hands to kind of catch you. All right, so let's get started. So face the front of your mat, and we're just going to do a gentle twist to the right. So take your right hand, put it behind your right buttocks, and your left hand comes outside your left thigh, and let's just gently twist to the right, starting to wake up the spine. Maybe play around with that Ujjayi breath. Continue to try to sit up a little taller with each inhale, and then try to twist a little deeper with each exhale. Let's switch over to the other side. Hey, belly button. So right hand is going to come to the outside of your left thigh. Left hand is going to come behind your left buttocks, excuse me. Inhale, get a little taller. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Good. I want to wake up the ankles a little bit. So let's come to sit, if you're not already, maybe this is the comfy seat that you chose. Let's come to sit on our heels. with our knees directly in front of us. Hi, baby. Let's start to lift the right knee. So just start to pull it back, lean back just a little bit, and you should feel a pretty significant stretch in the front of the right ankle. And just hold it here. Maybe you want to roll out the neck. Sometimes I like to do two poses at once, right? Maybe like roll out the neck and stretch the ankle at the same time. Let's move over to the left side. So let's start to lift the left knee. And maybe it doesn't come very far off the ground. Whatever it takes to feel a stretch, right? Doesn't have to be a large movement. And as I say in most videos, everybody's body's different. So what feels right in mine may not feel right in yours, and vice versa. There are poses that I may never be able to get into because of my bone and soft tissue structure. Everybody's different. So whatever feels right to you is what I want you to do. So the other thing that we can do to try to feel a little bit of a stretch is I want you to come into kind of a squat here, right? So we're gonna squat, keeping our feet flat on the ground, right? And then without touching the ground, come forward, drop the knees. I just kind of naturally cactus my arms, maybe you can too. And then start to come back, flat-footed. Maybe you reach in front of you, maybe lengthen the spine. And then let's come forward again. And then just kind of rock back and forth like that. This is a bit of a balance challenge. I already feel it in my ankles. This is doing a lot of work. But we're going to be on our feet today. So let's work the ankles a little bit. Keep coming back and forth. Maybe do something different with your arms. I like to pretend I'm a ballerina sometimes. I love yoga, but if you've ever taken a barre class, it's kind of fun because you kind of feel like a cross between Pilates and dance, and you feel kind of like a ballerina. So I've liked those classes I've taken if you ever have a chance to take a barre class. Okay, let's come back down. So the next thing I want us to do, and I'm going to turn sideways, the way that you're all facing. So we're going to take your heels, roll your toes over so that the bottom of your toes are on the mat, and then sit back on your heels. This is going to feel terrible. Sorry. But it is a really good stretch for the bottom of the feet. I have a hard time staying in this pose for very long, but you should feel a very significant stretch on the bottom of your feet. If you don't, I can't imagine that you don't. So if you don't, great for you. Just hang out here. So we're going to just start to circle out the wrists because we are going to do a few downward dogs. So let's just do some wrist circles, try to distract our brain from what's going on in our ankles and our feet. Maybe you switch rotation of your hands. Let's start to flick the fingers. So bring them out directly in front of you. Tense the forearms and really flick the fingers as if you were trying to flick something off your hands. Or flicking water at someone. You really wanted the water to go far. Doesn't take long here as well to start to feel a burning in the top of the forearms. Okay, let's come forward. Let's tap on our feet. That was terrible. Maybe roll out your ankles a little bit. That's pretty good to me. Let's come into a cat-cow position. So come to all fours, or tabletop position, to do some cat-cows. So we're going to drop the belly, lift the head, inhale for cow pose. Exhale, push the ground away. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale for cat pose. Inhale, cow. Lift the head, drop the belly. Exhale, cat. And try to find something new every time you round the spine forward or round it up. Try to stretch something that you didn't stretch last time. Sometimes I like to start like at the top between my shoulder blades and kind of like really push through the shoulder blades, and then the mid back, and then maybe the low back. And really drop the belly, maybe reach the chest as you inhale in your cow pose. Reach the chest through the shoulders. Feel broadening across your collarbone, clavicles. When I'm not doing yoga, I'm an X-ray tech, so I find it hard sometimes to say the layman's terms and not the specific bones. You know, like collarbones does not, that word just does not roll off my tongue. Clavicle, scapulas, shoulder blades. So if you hear me say like medical terms, I apologize. I try to correct myself and say the terms that most people know. Not that those are hard anatomy words. Okay, so let's start to do, let's round clockwise. So we're gonna feel all four edges of the hand. So it's your heel of your hand, the left sides of the hand, the knuckles. So start to do some circles, and this is to, again, stretch out the wrists, get some motion in them, lubricate the joints. Let's go the other way. We're not going to spend too much time on our wrists today, so. Good. Okay, so place your hands maybe about an inch in front of your shoulders, maybe a little more. We're gonna roll over the toes, and then we're gonna push and pike our hips up and back for our first downward dog class. So in this first downward dog, let's just take some nice, slow, deep breaths. Maybe start to walk out your dog, bend into one leg and then the other. Sometimes I like to drop my heels out to one side, push back, keep piking the hips. This should cause, if you're following along and doing this as well, this should cause like a stretch in the outer hips. And also the side body, the opposite side body. And then maybe flip your heels over the other side, whichever side you didn't do already. Keep evenly distributing the weight through your hands. It's very easy to dump all your weight into one side or the other. Let's come to stillness for just a moment. You can keep a bend in the knees, but keep trying to drop the heels down towards the mat. Even if they don't touch, that's not a big deal, but we want the effort to be there. So let's inhale together. Nice big inhale. And then sigh it out. One more big inhale. This time lift the heels. And then exhale, bend the knees, bringing your chest to the top of your thighs. And then inhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. I'm gonna step for this first one. Halfway lift, so this is where the blocks can come in handy. If you want to put your hands on the blocks here, you can bring them to your shins. If you are all warmed up and you don't like using blocks, you can bring your fingertips to the ground as well. So inhale in this halfway lift, nice flat back, relax the shoulders away from the ears, elongate your neck. You should feel a stretch in the back of the legs, kind of making an L shape or a 7 shape with the body. Inhale one more time. We're taking these first ones pretty slow. And then on an exhale, start to fold forward. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. Bring the rib cage, your torso, to your thighs and hang really heavy here. So there's so many options in your first forward fold. So sometimes I like to clasp my arms behind my legs and just let everything hang heavy. Sometimes I like to grab opposite elbows and hang out here. You can also bring your hands to the base of your skull and let your arms hang heavy around your ears. This brings a little bit of extra weight to the head and will increase the stretch in the back of the neck and the mid-back. You can also alternatively just bring your hands to the floor and hang out like a rag doll here. Or if you're feeling like a chest opener, you can also clasp your hands together behind your back and then pushing through the arms, pushing the knuckles up towards the ceiling, you can start to draw your arms up and over your head. All right, wherever you are, bring your hands back down to the ground. We're going to step the right foot back and then the left foot, going into our first chaturanga of class. So high plank, push the ground away, lean forward 1 inch, and then lower down with control, keeping the elbows close to the side body. When you're about halfway down and your triceps are level with the back of your body, push the ground away, coming into an upward facing dog. Engage the thighs so much the kneecaps lift, and you're relaxing the shoulders away from the ears again, pushing the chest through the shoulders. Back bend here. Inhale, look up if it's okay on the neck. And then exhale, you're gonna pike the hips, coming into a downward dog. One big breath in here. Exhale it all out. Inhale, high up on the tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, look forward. Inhale, hop, step, or jump to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, this time we're gonna roll all the way up. Samastitihi at the top of the mat. So bring your palms to face towards the top of the mat. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Center your shoulders directly over your pelvis. On an inhale, we're going to bring the arms up and overhead. Look up at the hands. Exhale, draw your prayer hands down your face, down your chest. Come with them, hinge at the hips. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hop or step back, chaturanga. Lean forward 1 inch, past the hands, bring the shoulders past the hands. Lower down with control. Exhale, inhale, upward facing dog, look up. Exhale, pike the hips, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, high up on the tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, look forward. Inhale, hop or jump to the top of the mat, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Maybe the head comes last. Arms come up to a prayer position. Draw them down the body. When you reach the sternum, start to hinge forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step back or hop back. Chaturanga, high plank. Inhale, exhale, lower down. Inhale, push the ground away. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale the right leg behind you. I'm trying not to kick my plant. And flatten it against the wall behind you. Keep reaching through the heel.
Try to lower the left heel towards the ground, tendency to come back up. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed through both hands. Start to bend into the right knee and then circle out the hip. So let's do, I don't know what is this, clockwise? And then switch, whatever way you're going, switch the rotation for the other direction. Good, bring the right foot back down. Let's go into the left side. So let's stamp the left foot, reaching through the heel onto the back wall. Try to lower the right heel down just a little bit. Bend into the left knee. Start to circle out the hip. Check in with your hands, make sure your weight is evenly distributed. Rotation, reverse. So let's reverse the rotation of our leg. Good. Plant the left foot next to the right. Let's do one more sun A. So let's lift the heels high, bend the knees, hop or step to the top of the mat, halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Try to see if you can let it all go. Inhale, plant the hands, step or hop back, chaturanga, high plank. Inhale, exhale, low plank. Inhale, push the ground away, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna get flowing. So let's take a breath in, round the right knee into the chest, rounding the spine, step the right foot through between the hands, rotate the left foot to 45 degrees to the left side of the mat, 90-degree bend in the front leg. Get light into the hands, engage the core, coming up, warrior one, square the hips towards the top of the mat. If you're not sure if your hips are squared, feel free to put your hands on your hips and physically feel them turn so that your hip points, your ASIS is pointing towards the top of the mat. All right, so let's bend a little deeper into that front leg. Powerful through the back left leg. Biceps next to your ears. Relax the shoulders down. Inhale deeply. On an exhale, we're going to start to round the left hand in front of us, down beside us, and then behind us, opening up to the left side of our mat. Let's bring our feet into alignment. So right heel should be in line with left arch. Relax the arms away from the ears, and let's look out over our right middle finger. Check in with that front knee. Make sure that it's tracking directly over the ankle. And you're going to pull the knee. It's going to feel like you're pulling the knee towards the pinky edge of your foot. So if you look down, you should be able to see your big toe. Don't collapse it in. Inhale. On an exhale, we're coming into side angle. So right forearm can come to right thigh, and you could reach over that way. You could grab one of your blocks, put it on the inside of your right foot, and reach this way. If you're feeling stretched out and you don't need the block, you can bring your hand down to the ground and look up at your left elbow. Just breathe here. Maybe come back to Ujjayi breath. On an exhale, we're going to plant both hands to frame the right foot again. Come onto the ball of the left foot. We're going into crescent lunge. So we're going to come back up again. Let's get light into the hands. Maybe micro bend that left knee. And your feet are going to be on train tracks, so they're not going to be on the same plane. You want them slightly to the right and the left of each other. Give your hips some room. So get light into the hands. Let's come back up just like we did in the Warrior One. Crescent lunge. The difference is this back left foot. Still squaring the hips towards the top of the mat. Bring your hands to a prayer position overhead. Draw them down the body like we did when we were forward folding. Come to your sternum and then hook your left elbow outside your right knee, coming into a twist. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, option to drop the knee. Exhale, come back to crescent lunge or low lunge if you drop the knee. Breathe. If your knee isn't already down, let's go ahead and drop it. Good. And then we're going to push the ground away, straighten the right leg, untuck the left toes if they're tucked. Good. Coming into half split, so maybe walk that leg in a little more forward. You can bring your arms down if you'd like, or core support, bring your arms behind you and kind of hinge over your right thigh. Alternatively, hands can come to the ground. This is actually more of a hamstring stretch for me. But if a hamstring stretch is not what you're going for, feel free to do something different. Good. And then we're going to plant the right foot, deepening the lunge. Make sure your right knee is over your right ankle. So you're going to feel a stretch in the front of the left thigh here. Stay active in the legs, don't just dump your weight forward. Stay active in the legs. Bring your arms down if they're up. Let's rotate the right foot towards the left front corner of the mat, rolling over onto our left heel, coming into Skandasana. So your right heel can be lifted or it can be flat. I have to work pretty hard to get it flat, so mine's going to stay lifted for these first couple. And then flex your left toes towards your face. And just breathe here. If you want to bring the hands down for balance, you certainly can. You can alternatively turn it up and bring your arms up overhead, whichever you're feeling today. Good. So we're going to push up to star pose. So if you want to bring your hands to the ground for this first one, feel free. But what we're going to do is we're going to push off with this right thigh to come up to make a 5-pointed star. So let's come on up. Rotate your feet. They kind of naturally come this way, but 45 degrees out. And your arms are going to get big overhead. And you're going to spread your fingers out really wide and get really big. And maybe you say to yourself, I am powerful. Or what else could you say? I'm going to take up space. I am big. I matter. Any affirmation that makes you feel good and anything that kind of embodies this pose. So I am powerful. Everything I need is inside me. All those. Think of your own if you want. There's a few to get your mind going. And then we're going to rotate the feet. Actually, let's stay like this. So let's keep them 45 degrees out to the edges. And then let's bend the knees. Make sure your knees, again, are tracking towards the pinky side of your legs. You're really opening the legs. Squat down a little deeper. Cactus the arms. So this is goddess pose. Don't you feel powerful? So let's lift the right heel. You can feel that already. Let's drop that down. Let's lift the left heel. Drop that down. Let's see, can we lift both heels? We can. Sink a little deeper. Hold it. Breathe in. Exhale, drop the heels. Bring your hands to your waist Hinge forward, parallel the feet, so they're going both towards the left side of your mat. Start to fold and hinge at the waist. Keep a nice flat back. Inhale. Exhale. Fold all the way, start to round the spine. Bring the elbows together as if they could touch on the back of your back body. So like there's magnets trying to zip them together. They're not actually going to come together. I mean, maybe they do for you. That would be pretty impressive. And keep leaning forward. So I feel a really big stretch in the back of my thighs, on the inner thighs, and I'm not locking out my knees. So you can't see it. I can feel it, and so should you. Just a slight micro bend of the knees. And keep drawing those elbows together. Maybe you even clasp your hands together, stretch them up towards the sky, and then start to lean them up and over your head. And notice whether or not you feel a difference between the right and the left leg. So we just stretched out the right thigh, a little bit of the front left leg, but notice, do they feel any different? I'm going to gently let my hands go with control without slingshotting them. And then bring my hands to the mat, walk them right underneath my shoulders. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips, top of your iliac crest, and start to round up with a flat back. Good. Bring your left toes to face towards the back left corner of your mat. Start to bend into your left leg. Flip the right toes to face the ceiling. Flex the right foot towards your face. Skandasana, back of the mat. Inhale. And then exhale. All right, inhale. Exhale, let's plant the hands. Start to roll onto the right ball of your foot. Stamp the left foot down. Train track the feet so they're your left foot's out to, your right foot's out to the new right. The left foot's out to the old right. You get it. I really should be better at right and left. So go ahead and drop the right knee down. Untuck the toes. You're going to lean into that right thigh, front of the right hip flexor. I'm going to bring my hands up overhead. You can join me if you want. Maybe you just leave the hands on the knee. That's totally cool too. And then start to push back, straighten the left leg. Flex your left toes towards your face. Maybe you bring your arms behind you and fold a little bit over your left thigh, core supporting. Maybe you bring your hands down to the mat. Maybe you have blocks you want to put them on. That all feels good. Deepen your breath. Okay, so let's plant the left foot back down. Roll the toes of the right foot over. I'm going to bring my arms up over my head. And then I'm going to push off using my right foot. So we're going to come up to a crescent lunge. So in just a moment, we're going to lift the right knee. If you want to bring your hands down to the mat to help with this, feel free. This is a tough thing to do. So if you're ready, let's inhale and then exhale, push up. Good. Keep a micro bend in that back right leg, 90-degree bend in the front leg. Crescent lunge. Should square the hips. You're still feeling a stretch maybe in the front of the right thigh. I know I am. And then we're going to bring our hands to prayer overhead. Draw them down till they reach our sternum. And then hook your right elbow outside of your left thigh. Twist it to the left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, coming back to crescent lunge. Straighten the arms. Good. Exhale, drop the right foot so that your right arch is aligned with your front left thigh. Rebend into this left thigh if you come out of it. I know I just did. Keep tracking that left knee towards the pinky edge of your left foot. We're going to reach the arms out to the side. Look over your left middle finger. Inhale. Exhale. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale again. Exhale, coming into warrior one. So you're going to flip. Oh, we skipped side angle. Come back to your warrior two. And then on an exhale, let's drop the left forearm to the left thigh. Reach the right arm overhead. You're looking up at your right elbow. If you wanted to, you could drop the hand down to a block or the mat. Still looking up at your right elbow. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, warrior one. So back right foot comes to 45 degrees to the new right side of your mat. 90-degree bend in the front leg, the left leg. Square your hip points towards the top of the mat, the old back of the mat. Arms come up by your ears, so biceps next to your ears. Inhale. Exhale, I want you to bring your right leg up to meet your left, and then squat down, chair pose. Maybe your feet are together, maybe they're hips width distance apart, maybe your toes are touching and your heels are apart. Those are all correct ways to do chair pose. Sit a little deeper. Focus on your breath. Lower down just a little further. Good. Bring your arms behind you. Come onto your tiptoes. Drinking bird. Gaze slightly in front of you. Sink a little deeper. Inhale. And then exhale, chair pose. Weight goes into your heels. Inhale. Exhale, drinking bird. Arms go back. Come up on the tiptoes. Exhale, chair pose. Weight goes into the heels. Arms come up. Good. Step your right foot back behind you. Good. Start to drop the right knee. Bring the left foot to face towards the right corner of the mat. We're going to come in back into Skandasana. So lean into that left leg, start to, if you need to bring your arms down, you can. Start to roll onto the heel of your right foot, flex your right toes towards the ceiling. Inhale here. And then on an exhale, we're going to push up to star pose. So big inhale. And then exhale, push all the way up, get big. I am powerful. Everything I need is inside me. Stretch your fingers out as if you could separate them and they could just go in totally different directions. Get as big as you possibly can
Maybe even your toes lift and you try to spread those. Let's bring our hands to our hips and we're gonna fold forward again. So at the hips, start to hinge forward, keeping a flat back, reaching the elbows back behind you. Parallel the feet, so lift the toes and just bring them to parallel to face towards the side of the mat that you're looking down at. Used to be the left, then it was the right. Then I got confused about which side it was. Drop the right hand in front of your face here. And then we're gonna reach the left hand up into the sky. Try to keep the hips level here. Even if it means you don't twist 100%, keep the hips level. Looking towards the old back of our mat, the recent front of our mat. Inhale. Exhale, replace the right hand with the left. Right arm comes up. Look up at the right hand, level the hips. Breathe here. Exhale, bring both hands down in front of you. Halfway lift, nice flat back. Bring your hands, core support, bring your hands back to your hips. And then start to come all the way up with just the power of your legs and your core. Good. Let's start to bend into the right thigh, going back to the OG front of the mat. So let's bring our right toes to face towards what will be the front left corner of our mat. Start to bend into your right leg. Flip your left toes to face towards the front of the mat. And then we're gonna do Skandasana at the OG front. So you can bring your hands to prayer, you can bring them overhead, wherever you'd like to be is just fine. And breathe here. Keep flexing those left toes towards your face. Inhale. Exhale, plant the hands. Start to round towards the original front onto the left ball of your foot here. So we're gonna drop the right knee, as we did it on the other side. And we're gonna come back up into a low lunge, core support. Come on up. Arms up next to your ears if you'd like. You can also just bring them down. Let's go ahead and roll over the toes. We're going to push up to crescent lunge here. So pushing up, micro bend that left leg, 90-degree bend in the right. Settle in, hips point towards the front of the mat. Inhale. And then on exhale, bring the left foot up to meet the right. Settle in, chair pose, weight goes into the heels. Bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest, sit a little deeper. And then hook the left elbow outside the right knee, twist to the right. Revolve chair pose, sit a little deeper. On an inhale, come back to center. One more side, guys. On an exhale, you hook the right elbow outside the left thigh, twist to the left, sit a little deeper. Focus on your breath. On an inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, forward fold. Start to heel toe the feet out to the sides of the mat, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Grab your big toe with your peace fingers and start to pull your upper body down towards your feet, and your elbows go out to the respective left and right. Take a few breaths here.
trying to get a drink. My mouth is dry. Good. So you're in your forward fold. Get your peace fingers going. Let's let the peace fingers go. Let your big toes go. And then turn your feet out, if they're not already, to about 45 degrees. Coming down into a Malasana squat. So just start to sit down. You're going to bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest again. And then you're going to draw your chest through your shoulders. You're attempting to center your shoulders over your pelvis. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, always. Drop your right hand down. Lift the left arm up. Malasana twist. Look up at your left hand if it's okay on the neck. Feel an opening and a broadening through your collarbones. Exhale, bring the left hand down beside your left foot. Right hand comes back up. Inhale, look up at the hand if it feels good on the neck, if you can. And then exhale, bring the right hand back down to the mat. We're going to then start to sit on back onto our butt. Good. Let's bring our feet. You can face the front of the mat. I'm going to face you guys. Let's come into cobbler's pose. So let's bring our feet to touch in front of us and start to push your knees down towards the mat. Keep a nice tall straight spine. So maybe you grab your peace toes. That kind of pulls on my toes. It's uncomfortable. So I like to grab all the tops of my feet. And you're going to bring your heels in fairly close to your pelvis. Nice tall spine, as if someone has a string on your head and is pulling you up. Keep breathing here. Maybe you want some movement. You can flutter your knees. This is also called butterfly pose. So it's like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, right? Drying its wings. Sometimes a little bit of movement can help just before stillness, before you really push down. Softens the muscles and the ligaments a little bit, so you're able to push down and away a little bit more. Good. Let's start to straighten the left leg, right? And then stamp your right foot down in front of your right thigh. We're going to bring our hands up and over our head. And then start to hinge over your left foot. Grab wherever you can. Maybe you're grabbing your shin. Maybe you're grabbing your foot. Maybe you're actually able to bring a block in front of your foot and pull this way. Actually, that feels pretty good. We're going to stay here for a few breaths, so wherever you are, make sure it's comfortable enough to hold. Stretching should feel good, not like a punishment. If it hurts or tingles, back out of it. You're just not there today. Doesn't mean you won't be there tomorrow. Let's come back up, straight spine, bring your arms up over by your head, biceps next to the ears. Let's hook our left elbow outside our right thigh. Let's twist to the right side. So inhale, get a little taller. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Back to center. Let your right foot go down in front of you. We're going to bend the left leg, stamp it down in front of your left thigh. We're going to bring our arms up overhead and start to hinge over our right leg now. So again, maybe you grab the shin, maybe you're grabbing your knee. It's all good. Maybe you grab the foot. Maybe you grab a block and put it in front of your foot. I am not as stretchy on this side. It was much easier to do on my left side. That's very curious because I am right-handed. We're all asymmetrical. Nobody is exactly even. Good, come back up. Bring the arms up, biceps next to the ears. Inhale, straight spine. Exhale, hook the right elbow, outside the left knee. Plant your left hand down behind you and start to twist towards the left side of your mat, looking over your left shoulder. With every inhale, grow a little taller. With every exhale, twist a little deeper. Again, you're going to imagine that string on the top of your head as if someone is drawing you up. All right, come back to center on an exhale. Let's straighten out the legs. Shake them out. We're going to start to come down to, again, on all fours. So let's crisscross applesauce the legs and then come back to all fours. And then we're going to come up to a high plank position. Push through the heels. Slight tuck of the pelvis. So do what makes your butt look terrible. Don't stick it out like Beyonce. Let's try to round it in. Push forward just a little bit and then lower all the way down till you reach your belly. We're going to bring the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, maybe slightly in front, to Sphinx pose. And you're going to start to reach your chest through your shoulders, keeping your palms flat on the mat. Slight back bend here. Inhale. Exhale. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale again. And then exhale, just bring the elbows out to the side. Bring your hands in front of your forehead. Drop your forehead down to the backs of your hands here for alligator pose. Inhale, exhale. Bring your right temple down to the mat. Bring your hands with the palms down next to your hips or your thighs, depending on how long your arms are. And on an inhale, we're going to start to roll the shoulders away from the mat for a baby back bend. So inhale, look forward, keep the neck nice and long, start to lift the shoulders off of the mat, lift the hands off of the mat, and as if someone has a hold of your hands and they're pulling you back. So keep stretching through the fingers, keep reaching as if you could actually reach your feet. And then on exhale, come down, bring the left temple to the ground. We're gonna come back up. This time I want you to use the legs as well. So we're gonna zip our thighs together. Maybe even you bring your big toes to touch, as if you have both legs are now one leg, right? So keep everything zipped together. We're going to inhale and lift the shoulders, lift the hands, and lift the feet. So inhale, coming up, zip everything together, draw the hands together as if there's magnets on them and they're pulling towards each other behind your buttocks. Inhale as deep as you can. Lift 1 inch higher, hold it. Exhale, let it all go. I'm gonna just bring my forehead down to the mat. I'm gonna bend my knees and then just wave them side to side, releasing the lower back. Okay, I'm then going to grab my ankles and we're going to lift up one more time. So right now my grip is grabbing the outside of my ankles. That feels best to me. You can grab your feet if you'd like. And then we're going to inhale and then lift everything back up again. So we're going to lift the shoulders, lift the knees, coming into a bow pose. So inhale. Nice straight neck, and then exhale, but don't let anything go. So you're just gonna kind of rock your boat. Draw the knees together, make sure they're not flaring out. Push into the legs to lift the shoulders a little more. And then exhale, let everything come back down to the mat, let it go. Maybe you want to side to side with the legs again. All right, let's bring our arms in front of us, bring our hands in front of us, underneath the shoulders maybe. And then we're gonna push back in no fancy way, back to a child's pose, wide-legged child's pose. So bring the knees to spill off the sides of the mat, bring the toes, the big toes to touch, and then sit your buttocks back down towards your heels. Bring your hands to prayer. Walk your elbows in next to your temples and start to push the backs of your arms down into the mat. This is going to create a stretch through the chest and the back of the arms. Good, drop your hands. Coming onto your forearms, walk your forearms ahead of you just a little bit. We're gonna come into a forearm plank for just a moment. I know. So reach through the heels, come onto your toes, tuck your pelvis, make sure it's not popping up. We wanna do what makes our booties look flat. Don't stick them out. And then let's just hold here. Make sure those hips aren't piking. The lower the hips are, the more difficult this is going to be, and that's what we want it to be. So we're just gonna find our breath here, keep pushing the ground away, keep rising up out of the shoulder girdle. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Keep pushing through your heels. Maybe you dip the right hip down to touch, and then the left. Working the obliques. Maybe you're at stillness. You can drop the hips for a moment and come back up if you need. Long neck here. Inhale big. And then exhale, let's drop everything down, drop the pelvis. Coming momentarily into Sphinx pose again, because that shit feels really good on your clavicles and collarbone. Opening up the chest. Good, and then let's push back, tabletop position. Keep walking your knees in front of you. Sit onto your heels maybe. Bring your legs out in front of you. Coming into Shavasana. So let's just lay down. Maybe you come into boat pose here, Navasana, for just a moment. Maybe you have straight legs, maybe they're bent, maybe the arms are up, maybe they're here, maybe they're here. Whichever boat, whatever you want your boat to look like. And then lower down slowly with control. Embrace the shake. All right, I usually do a bridge pose before Shavasana, but I feel like that forearm plank was enough work. So let's settle in here. Start to slow the breath. Maybe return to your Ujjayi breath, constricting the back of the throat. Focus on the sound of your breath. Maybe as you inhale, you imagine the waves at the beach, the water's drawing back, maybe taking little pebbles with it, and hear the tink of the little pebbles against each other, or the sand moving with the waves, drawing back out to sea. And then with your exhale, maybe you see the water coming back in. And then inhale, it pulls back out to sea. Exhale, the waves come back onto the beach. Maybe you can imagine the sound of seagulls along with the movement of the sand or the rocks. Relax everything in your body. Maybe you start at your head and scan down your body, making sure each and every joint, small and large, is relaxed. And your limbs, your phalanges, just dropping out to wherever they want. You're not holding tension to keep your toes, your fingers straight. You're trying to clasp them and keep them tight together. You're just letting everything hang. Imagine each vertebrae. Imagine the space between each vertebrae, each rib. And with each inhale, everything spaces out a little bit further. And as you exhale, everything comes together a little more. And you imagine your diaphragm dropping down as you inhale. And then as you exhale, pushing up, pushing the air out. Feel the weight of your body against the mat, gravity pushing down on you. You start to bring small movements back to your fingers and toes. Move into larger movements in your ankles, your wrists, elbows. Maybe you start to bend your knees. Start to thank yourself for coming to your mat today. Maybe you weren't feeling it. You're so happy that you came. I know I have a lot of days like that where I know I need it. My body wants it, but I just don't want to do the work. So thank yourself. It's those small feet making it to your mat today. Start to roll onto whichever side is comfortable for you. For me, it's going to be my left. Ground, for me, it's my right hand. Could be your left, depending on which side you chose. Ground your top arm down into the ground, into your mat. And then start to push yourself up. comfortable seated position. I'm going to see crisscross applesauce because that's what's comfortable for me. Maybe you bring your hands down to your knees with the palms down for some grounding energy. Maybe you flip your hands up to face towards the sky if you want to receive some energy. If you're feeling a little low today. Let's take 2 breaths in. The first breath, we're just going to take together, nice long, big breath. Second breath, I want us to inhale together and then exhale the sound of Om. So let's inhale. Big exhale. Inhale the biggest inhale you have all day. And then exhale Om. Fill back up. Sigh it out. Bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest. Bring them up to your third eye if you would like. I'd like to bow to you slightly and say namaste. The light within me bows down to the light within you. I honor you. I see you. Even if I physically don't see you, I honor your presence. Come back up if you bowed. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Goddess Flow, and I hope you feel more powerful now than you did when you stepped on your mat. Thank you so much. Have a great day.